So what can I do for you, son?
A dignified middle-aged man spoke from behind his oak wood desk with an accomplished stature.
Hi, Liam.
The younger man stood up halfway to shake hands.
Listen, you'll have to excuse me. I'm kind of new to this whole church thing.
Of course. Nice to meet you, Mr. Liam.
Yeah, what do I call you? Father or something?
You can call me Bryson if you like.
Okay, well, Bryson, I'm not really sure where to start.
The younger man was whittling with his fingers and leaning heavily on the burgundy leather armrest, as if not comfortable enough to sit back.
I've been to a few other priests and stuff, but they don't really know how to help me.
Well, I promise to help you any way I can. No judgment here. Just get whatever you need to say off your chest.
Well, over the last few months, I've been thinking about some stuff really hard that I've never really thought about before. About dying, what comes afterward. I'm finding it hard to concentrate. I can't get it off my mind. I guess the reason why I'm coming to a priest and not a psychiatrist is because what I really want to know, what I have to know, is hell a real place?
Bryson's eyes relaxed, as if he'd seen a familiar face.
Yeah, it's perfectly natural to wonder about death and what comes after, but you don't have to live in fear. There's hope for your soul.
It's not really my soul that I'm worried about.
Liam sighed again, like he was preparing to set his own broken bone.
I was in the Marine Corps, Force Recon Special Forces. It all started a little over a year ago when my team was working in Venezuela. We were on a deep reconnaissance mission for some persons of interest. We were briefed on some indigenous tribes that might be dangerous in the area. We were ordered not to engage, and we took it with a grain of salt. We were supposed to provide intel on one guy, nothing more. The other people shouldn't be a problem. Piece of cake, we thought.
So what went wrong?
The people scattered through the jungles out there, they're like landmines, you know? We didn't have a map, no UAV, no way of knowing when you might run into somebody. It's a good place to hide for wanted personnel, because it's pretty hard for anybody to get to you without making some kind of noise with the natives. Unless you're the United States Marines. We trucked through, no problem, just as planned. We came across some kind of a ritual. These village people, they didn't see us. Didn't have anything to do with the mission. We stayed low, undetected. Started to make our way around. Except me. I shouldn't have looked. It wasn't the objective. But there was a little girl. She could have been a day over 12. Nothing more than a potato sack for clothes. The men around her, they put her on this stone. Dried blood all over the ground around it. And she wasn't fighting back. I called my team back, and we watched as they tied her arms and legs, and they stretched her out by the ends of the rope, like some kind of an animal. They smeared her body with ash until she was covered in it. I remember Dan, my best buddy, crawled up next to me and laid his hand on my shoulder. Our comms were silent. Nobody said anything. But we all knew what was about to happen. The other people around the stone started chanting something. Some kind of sick seance or something. I don't know. I can still hear it in my dreams. I can still feel the vibrations in the mud as they danced. One of them had a mask made out of sticks, charred sticks, like it was out of the fire. And he passed around that bowl of ashes. Everybody painted their faces with it. And then he pulled out a knife, stone knife. Whatever they were going to do to that little girl.
Bryson's face stretched as he loathed to picture the reality.
Mark, our team leader, he rallied us up and he said, "Boys, we're not supposed to engage. We go by the book, we just walk away, be done with it. Pretend like we never saw it." But he said, "I can tell you right now, that's not going to happen. So if anybody disagrees, None of us disagreed.
What did you do?
We did what we had to do. We dropped them all. Precise, accurate, efficient. They never even knew we were there. By the time the last guy realized what was happening, he was already bleeding out.
And the girl?
We patched her up the best we could on the spot. Got her out of the jungle. She refused to talk or eat or anything, but she was alive. She was alive.
So did you get reprimanded for disobeying orders?
No, we didn't.
And you saved the girl?
Yeah.
I'm afraid I don't follow.
The last man, the one with the mask, he was whispering something as he was dying. He kept spitting up these words like he was trying to get something out before he passed. I didn't get any of it. I didn't care at the moment. But Sanchez, one of my teammates, had been kind of teaching some Spanish to us when we joined up. And he caught a word, maldición or something like that. Spanish for curse.
So you think this man cursed you?
I know it sounds stupid. I didn't think twice about it at the time either, until we got back stateside. Mark, the team leader, was admitted into the hospital with some strange pains that he described as scalding. Doctors never diagnosed it, so they put him on some painkillers and sent him home, except he never made it. He died, along with his wife and daughter, when their engine blew at 70 miles an hour on the highway. After the funeral, Justin and Lotney, two of our recon scouts, stayed in a motel before making the drive back to their homes. That motel caught fire that night. Nobody knows what caused it. No survivors. 2 weeks later, Sanchez came home to a dead mother after his dog went crazy and mauled her while he was at work. No trace of rabies. He shot himself that night.
Bryson felt useless. Like any words he could attempt to use would be nothing but pettiness compared to the horror he was hearing. He spoke few sentences he had rehearsed with hundreds of other people who'd come to him for counseling. Only this time, they felt powerless.
I'm very sorry for your loss. With the pain of losing someone, coupled with the effects of PTSD, the mind can play some pretty nasty tricks. Perhaps you've manifested these tragedies in ways that make you question curses and rituals in order to protect yourself from the sorrow you don't want to feel. And that's perfectly understandable, but grief is the beginning of the healing process. Allowing your mind to mourn is painful, yes, but it's also healthy. These dark times will pass, Liam, but you have to let yourself journey through them naturally.
A month ago, Dan, my best bud, started complaining about these horrible hot flashes. And it got so bad he went to the ER. They told him he had a pinched nerve. Sent him home. He called me the middle of the next night. Said he was scared. Said he felt like his insides were boiling. He said he didn't know why he did it, but he'd burned his face on the stovetop. He thought maybe if he could actually burn his nerves, maybe they'd be satisfied and the pain would go away. He said he didn't want to leave me behind. I jumped in my truck, but by the time I got there, EMS was already wheeling him away. They said he died of internal hemorrhaging, ruptured liver, and 4th-degree burns on his face.
Liam leaned forward in his chair with bloodshot, sorrowful eyes that held a determined glare like one of a threatened lion.
I don't know what's going on, and I don't know what else I have to say to get someone to believe me. But something happened in that jungle, something I don't understand. But what I do know is that my team was sane, each man perfectly stable, strong, and happy. Whatever this is, change that. We are the United States Marines, and there is not a man alive that could take my team away from me and get away with it. And that is how I know this was not a man. This is something more, something far worse. I don't know if it's a curse or if it's a punishment. I don't care what it is. I just need to know how to stop it.
The room was silent, like the walls were recovering from the intensity of Liam's speech. Bryson sat dumbfounded for more than a minute, struggling to make sense of it all. The one thing he knew was that the genuine despair of the man in front of him was more than enough to frighten.
I suppose I've always believed in the supernatural, but I've never really heard anything like this.
Are curses real?
I don't know.
That's what everybody says. I thought you guys were supposed to have answers. Could you look in your books or something, or use some holy water or cite a prayer or something?
I'm not entirely sure what you want me to do.
I want you to change it. Do something. I don't know. I want you to bring him back, or tell me how to do it. Give me the instructions, anything.
Liam struck the desk with a frantic fist and collapsed into an exhausted stature of pure anguish.
Liam, I can't bring people back from the dead.
I know. I'm sorry.
Have you tried talking to this girl? She undoubtedly spent more time with these tribespeople than you did. Maybe she knows something.
The idea seemed to calm Liam slightly. He hadn't thought of that before.
Do you know where to find her?
Yeah, I do.
Well, then I guess you have your orders.
Bryson paused for a moment to let the severity die down and laid a hand on Liam's shoulder.
I admit your case is very strange, but remember that coincidences do happen. It doesn't mean that your men are cursed. In any case, know that nothing surprises the Lord. He will be with you through whatever this is, even when you don't see him.
Liam gathered his fatigued body and began to walk out of the office.
Thanks for your time.
Liam, whatever happens, please don't lose hope.
Semper Fidelis.